Okay, so I guess we'll call this webinar Keyword Research 10.9 version or something like that, because Google keeps updating things and changing things on us, so constantly needing to update. So this this will hopefully give a good intro and explanation of what the numbers mean, why we're doing it, and what to look at. So I'm going to just briefly go through getting started here. So if we, this is what the keyword planner looks like currently toward the end of 2018 here. And if we go to this tools option, that'll take us to the keyword planner, which is where we are right here. And so what we want is to find keywords, so we'll click on this box here, and it opens that up, and we can only put 3 keyword seed phrases in here initially. The seed phrases are the beginning phrases to give to Google to come up with. And I recommend that each time we do this, we look for, we create a specific list of phrases. So we want one list related to outdoor patio sets, for example, or outdoor patio furniture. Another, a different spreadsheet that relates to poolside furniture, perhaps, and maybe a different one if we were searching for the phrase deck furniture. So each of those areas we want a separate list of phrases. Okay. So, and all right, so this, let's just start with patio furniture. And I'm going to include patio furniture sets. I think that's good. And then we'll click Get Started. And that'll send Google looking for data. Now they've got all this data here for us. And we're going to click Download Keyword Ideas and get it downloaded. And that will generally download to, unless you've set your browser to ask where to download, it'll put it down here. Hopefully you're using Chrome, so it'll always show up down at the bottom here. And it'll automatically download it to your Downloads folder. And so we can click on the dots to find it, or the best option is to come to our Gmail account, click on the Google Apps up in the top right corner here, and go down to Drive and open that up. And then we can just click on that down in the bottom of the browser where it has downloaded and drag it right here and let go, and it will upload it into our Drive account. Now that's what's supposed to happen. For some reason here, it's given me fits on doing that. So we'll try a roundabout way to get it in there and see if we can make it happen. So if we go to Downloads, we can see the file right there. So going to New and File Uploads should upload it in there. Hopefully you can get it to work without going through the hoops I had to go through to finally get it here. But anyway, once we get the data into Google, then we've got to delete anything we don't need. So we don't need these top 2 rows. And so I'll highlight both of those 2 rows, right-click, and delete rows, because that data is just irrelevant to us. Then click out of the highlighted so I don't have 2 highlighted, and then highlight just row 1, and we're going to bold that, and then we're going to freeze just that 1 row. So we'll go to View, Freeze, 1 row. So we want to freeze just that top row with the header so everything else will scroll when we're scrolling. And then we get rid of the columns that we don't need. We don't need the column B currency, so we'll right-click and delete that. We don't need this average monthly that says NA. That's irrelevant to us. We don't need that. And this, incidentally, this will show a number if you are paying Google to run ads, then they'll show you an average here. Otherwise, you're only going to have these minimum maximums. So we'll get rid of that one. And then we don't need most of these other columns here. And then these search columns that are showing empty will also populate with averages per month over the last 12 months, again, if you are paying Google to run ads. If you're not, then they're not going to have that there. All right, and then we will, and of course we'll put our allintitle in here, which is not listed in that one there. Let me see if I can find that here. So there are essentially two numbers that we are looking at here that we want to make sense, and that's really what I want to talk about here most, is to clarify the numbers, what they mean, why we're looking at them, what we want to look for, and to caution you about numbers, because there are no hard and fast rules with numbers. There's never a point where I want you to get stuck on one number and say, you know, that Mike said this number, therefore it has to be this number. That is never the case. Numbers, this data is always flexible, so keep that in mind first. All right, so let's put in the all-in title code. It doesn't really matter where each of these are put. The only thing that really matters is when you create this, we have to put that string together properly, and the allintitle colon open quote is the first thing that goes in there. Then we put a comma, and then wherever our keyword is, whether it's in column A, column B, column C, whatever it is in your spreadsheet, that's the next thing that goes in this code. So we click that, and then a comma, and then the last thing is our end quotation, which in this example is in column F, row 2, right there. And then press enter, and that finishes our code for us right here. And then as long as there is data in the column to the left of anything that we want to spread down, we can actually highlight those three and just double click. When we see that plus sign on the little square in the corner, we just double click and it will fill all the way down. That should be the case not only in Google Docs but also in Excel. If you're using Excel, same kind of idea. Just double click on there on whatever's highlighted and it will fill down all the way as long as there's data right next to that first item. If there's an empty cell, like if this one was empty, then it would stop right there, right above that. It wouldn't go any further. So we have to make sure there's data there. All right, and then what we're going to do is search this into Google, and that is going to be our next title here, which is our all-in title, which is equivalent to competition. That's our competition number, okay? So basically we need three elements to line up in order to decide that we're going to use a keyword for our marketing or optimization. The most important is relevance, and relevance comes from the keyword. If the phrase is not relevant to what we're selling, then we're not going to use it. But as long as it's relevant, we're going to keep it in our list. And so that's the first thing that we look at. If it's relevant, we use it. If it's not relevant, we ignore it. That is the most important thing. If it is a relevant phrase, we're going to keep it here. And as I scroll through this, I think probably all of these are relevant. Here's one that's a brand. Hampton Bay is a brand. So if we don't sell Hampton Bay patio furniture, then this phrase is not relevant for us. And so none of this data is important for us because it isn't relevant. Okay? So that's the number one important thing to think about with keywords is relevance. Now, the next two come into play differently depending on who you talk to. I would say they work together, but we want a good number of demand, which is our search volume, with a low number of competition, which is our allintitle. So we want this number to be as low as possible, but we want this to be as high as possible. Now that doesn't mean that we take this high demand phrase and we target that. Again, it has to balance, remember. So patio furniture is a very general, very broad term. And if we were to go and search that on Google for the all-in title, and incidentally, let me clarify what this means too. All-in title, what this search does, this is called syntax right here. This is a language, a computer language, where we are talking to the computer and telling it what to do. And what this syntax tells the computer is it says, search all in title, or search for all of these phrases. So whatever's in quotes, these words in this order. So not furniture patio, but patio furniture. It's searching for those two words in that order, all in the meta title. That's what all in title means, of the page content on the internet. So it's telling Google, go look for this keyword phrase, but only look for it in the meta title of pages. And that's what we're seeing here in blue, in these blue results. These are the meta title. These are meta titles of the page. So Target has a meta title on their page of patio furniture, Target. Home Depot has patio furniture - Target. And down here, Jocelyn, Maine has patio furniture vertical bar, and then Jocelyn, Maine. And so you're seeing a trend here. They're all getting their branding out there, but the most important thing is the keyword, which is at the beginning of their meta title. And so we've told Google only look at meta titles that have all of these keywords in that title. And so we have to have all this syntax in there in order for Google to understand what we want. That means we have to have the colon right there. We have to have a quote before our phrase and a quote after our phrase. If any of that is broken, Google's not going to understand, and they're going to give us wrong results. And so that's why it's important to put that in a formula like this, so that when we copy it over, we know we're getting the right data and we're pasting that in. So this number of results is what we're looking for. So 547,000 pages. Google found 547,000 pages. We can put that right here, 547,000. And that number will change hourly and daily, but it shouldn't fluctuate too much. Now, when you're in the hundreds of thousands, I could see it fluctuate by thousands. You know, tomorrow it might be 546,000 or 548,000 or something like that. So it can